What's going on, Fantasy Chefs? Happy Saturday. It is October 20th, 2018. We've got another free lineup coming your way tonight for this 10-game NBA slate. As I've mentioned before, we've got free lineups all this week, and then after that, we are going to just do a breakdown show, and then the lineups will be over on the Fantasy.Chef.net website. You can get those over there for $4.99 a month. Trying to do lineups every night, so that's a steal. I mean, $4.99 a month, that's like 10 cents a lineup. Can't beat that anywhere. Last night did $2.91 on Fanduel. Was good in some cash games and in some tournaments or in some double ups. Was good for about top 9-10%. So the one killer was Jermichael Green. Excuse me. Jermichael Green had a mouth injury where I think he left somewhere in the third quarter. Really hurt the overall score there because Chandler Parsons was our punt play, and Green probably could have had another 10 to 12 fantasy points if he stayed in, but shit happens, so got to roll with it. Other than that, yeah, it was a profitable night, so can't beat that. Better than losing. So we've got a 10-game slate for this Saturday. Most notable game of the night is probably Houston at LA. LeBron James makes his debut in LA. This game is, I believe, the highest over-under of the night by quite a margin. 234.5 is the over-under. The next closest is Phoenix at Denver, 224. And then there's no other game that is within 5 or less. So those two games picked by Vegas to be pretty high scoring, so keep that in mind. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Starting off with point guard, going with Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's a guy in this slate that I love. He had a bad shooting night the other night against the Clippers. 3 of 12, 1 of 4 from three-point. But he got the minutes, and he had some nice counting stats, rebounds and assists, low turnover rate. He had close to 20 points with that bad shooting. At $6,000, I definitely think he can get value. The play here, too, is that Jamal Murray is not a well-known name to casual players, and you've got a lot of point guards tonight with some popular names. Ben Simmons here, all the way down to Kyrie Irving. So I see a lot of people biting on some of these bigger guys. I don't necessarily like paying up for these guys. I think that there's better value to be had elsewhere. I think a lot of other people are going to be paying up because some of these point guards have come out really, really hot. Not to say that they're going to have bad games, but I just like the value elsewhere. All right, second pick is our punt play. Going with Cameron Payne. He's starting again because Chris Dunn is out due to the birth of his child. Look, he got 21 minutes. He didn't score a point in his opening game. I think, again, a lot of people are going to shy away from this guy because of the poor night. But I see Payne having a little bit better of a matchup against Detroit. And I think that he's absolutely fine for a punt play. For $3,900 to get a starting point guard whose backcourt is also banged up as well, I think Payne is a good value there. And who knows, maybe he covers somebody's ass here who gets injured again in our lineup midway through the game. So, all right, onto shooting guard. Going with Markelle Fultz. If we followed the 76ers, Fultz has struggled a little bit. I like the fact that this Boston game was on national TV, so a lot of people probably watched it. He did not play very well at all. Played much better against Chicago. I think this Boston game is going to stick in people's minds more than the Chicago game. I love Fultz at $5,500 to get value, enough value to warrant the salary here. I think that the coach Brett Brown is dedicated in getting Fultz confidence up. I think that was shown at the end of the Chicago game where they gave him some extra run, and it does seem like they are investing in Fultz. So Like that pick there. Obviously like it because I picked it, but still. All right. Next up is our guy Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks. Did not have a very good opening night, but look, I think this is just opening night rookie jitters, nervousness. 5 of 16 from the field. He didn't hit a three-pointer. 0 of 2 from the line. The nice thing is he had 8 rebounds and 4 assists, and he is getting the minutes, like starters minutes, 31 minutes, semi-high turnovers, but again, I think that could be blamed on nerves. I love Luka to get into the 30s and higher tonight. Again, another player that I think a lot of people are going to stay away from early on this year. They're just not sure about him. If you're a basketball fan and follower, you obviously know who he is, but the casual guy coming into FanDuel, throwing $1, $2 here or there, isn't really going to be. He's not going to be looking for a Luka play, right? So I like that play as well. And going on to our small forwards, I think the best value that this week has had is Kawhi Leonard. I can't believe that they still have not put Leonard at a higher salary. 9,300 is just a steal at this point. This guy's a shoe-in for 40 points. Easy. 31 points, 10 rebounds against Boston, who has great defense. He goes up against Washington, so he'll probably get Otto Porter, who's a pretty good defender. But look, if he can do that against Boston, I think he'll be just fine against Washington. Look up Washington's defense against small forwards. Yeah, so far on the season, Washington is 4th worst when defending small forwards, according to FanDuel scoring. So I know that they've only played one game, so let's see what last season was. Let's see, bear with me. Middle of the league, actually 10th, about 10th worst against small forwards. So I don't see this as a matchup for Leonard that's really going to warrant being scared away. And again, man, I don't know why his salary is still 9,300. It's insane. Another guy I think is a shoe-in for at least 35 points tonight is Josh Richardson of the Miami Heat. This backcourt is injured. Even if it wasn't, I still think Richardson is one of the better players this season in fantasy, one of the surprise players. Over 20 points in each game so far this season, 28 points his last game. This guy is a stat stuffer. He gets at least a steal and a block a game. He's getting into the assist column. The rebounds are good. The points are good. The minutes right now are awesome. I do see Richardson being a guy that is owned pretty heavily. So if you're looking for GPP plays, this is a cash play. But if you're looking at making GPP lineups, I don't know. Richardson's interesting. He's probably going to be owned quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Not saying to fade him because I do love his potential to blow up, but just keep in mind that a lot of people might have him. All right. And next up, we're moving down to power forwards. Going with a guy we went with a couple nights ago, Bobby Portis. Portis is the starting power forward right now due to a couple injuries on the Bulls. And he is starting alongside of Wendell Carter Jr. So they draw the Detroit Pistons, who are not very good, surprisingly. They've got Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. They're not very good down low defensively. So if you look last season at power forward stats, Detroit was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th worst. Sorry, my stats don't have numbers next to them, so I have to count like a 2-year-old. They were 11th worst to power forwards on FanDuel. So I think Portis is a guy who looked very, very confident last game. 33 minutes, 20 points, 11 rebounds, a block and a steal. He was on fire. And against a good Philadelphia defensive team down low, they've got Robert Covington, and they've got Embiid, obviously. So I think Bobby Portis is a steal here at 5,900. I really wouldn't be surprised if he gets into the 40s again tonight. All right, another value play is the guy I was just talking about, his teammate, Wendell Carter Jr. If you look at his first game, I think this is another case of rookie jitters. This guy is only 20 years old. He comes in against Embiid and company at Philadelphia on the road. I think tonight's game is at home. Yeah, it's at home. So he should get a very warm reception in Chicago. You know, when they're doing the announcements, maybe that calms his nerves a little bit. I like him. I think he's another guy that the casual fans are going to be staying away from. But us diehards know that this guy is the real deal. I think his minutes do go up tonight. He was playing Embiid and got into some foul trouble. He had 4 fouls in that game. And I think that Chicago was kind of trying a couple different lineups out to combat the Embiid factor. So liking some Carter Jr. tonight, and that leaves us with some heavy salary, and we're going to spend it on our boy Embiid. Ridden him the last couple lineups, both I think once on Fanduel, once on DraftKings this week. I don't know who can stop this guy. He's an absolute freak. A shoe-in for at least 20 points and 10 rebounds, and then the defensive stats are sick. He's averaging over 2 blocks a game this season. The assists are decent for a center. You know, you're getting in the 3-4 range on average for Embiid. And then, he had high turnovers in that Boston game, but generally he's not a terrible turnover guy. So he gets Orlando tonight. Orlando's been, Vucevic and Gordon are not very good defenders. If I look at what they did against centers last season, they were 6th worst on FanDuel, the 6th worst team against FanDuel, if I could talk. So you know that when Embiid gets a matchup like that, it is gold. So I see Embiid probably into the 60s tonight. I'm just hoping that game's not a blowout. But, Philadelphia, this is, I believe, their 3rd game in 4 nights. So I think Orlando can probably keep it close because of that. If you're worried about the fatigue factor for Embiid, it's not going to be there. Embiid has been balling all summer long. I watched a segment on him, and he's been playing like, I don't know, a whole bunch of basketball this summer, way more than he ever has. He is in peak condition, and I don't think that anybody's going to be able to stop this guy this year. In season-long leagues, I think he's easy a top 7 guy. So, all right, guys, that's the picks. Again, like I said, fantasychef.net. If you want to subscribe after this week to our lineup picks, also do DraftKings as well. The free picks, if you do play DraftKings, those will be over on the website. Just didn't do a video for those, but do NFL too, so those picks will be out. UFC, whenever there's a UFC event for DraftKings, do those picks too. So keep it locked in here, guys. Good luck this week, and take care as always.